That's how it's done, baby. Huh? Well, we got another big male coyote. We're actually hunting some public land today, and we located these coyotes. And for, I mean, I guess they stay on these creek bottoms and den up or whatever. But they, it seems like every time we find a pack of coyotes and we move in on them, it's on a creek bottom. But right. It's pretty good thicket through here. There's just one little area right here that's open. The rest of it is like dead yopons where they burn it, but it kills the yopons, but they just I don't know. I may spin the camera around and show what it looks like. Yeah. But anyway, there's one area here that's decent. We actually walked all through here trying to find where we could set up, and I thought we weren't gonna. I thought some of the times me and him we'll kind of second guess where we want to set up, and we'll walk through the areas, and then the coyotes will come where we walk, and they'll bust us and won't come in.
So we try to be real careful where we're walking and how the wind getting the wind right.
Right, exactly. So we set up actually probably about right behind Justin, and the coyote actually came from directly behind me. There's a little creek bottom, and he walked down that creek bottom. We lost him for a minute, then he jumped back up, and Justin shot him, and then he was running off, and I put one in him. We put another one in him, but he was probably at about 60 yards, which out here on this WMA, you can't use buckshot. I've talked about this before. So we have to use double BB is the biggest size we can go. We started shooting the duck loads. I've already talked about this a million times, but
heavy tungsten.
The tungsten duck loads. And actually today I had an old box of heavy Magnum double BB. These are Hornady's, supposed to be they're varmint loads, they're coyote loads. But my opinion is they're not nowhere near what that tungsten is. I mean, that tungsten is just. He was coming in, we got excited. Justin shot him a little far back, and so we put a couple more in him. But big mature coyote. His teeth are not wore completely down, but you can tell he's definitely got some age to him. And real good, real pretty coyote. But
real scarred up in the face, been fighting.
Yep, scarred up in the face. Probably been fighting over some booger. He definitely smells like he's been rolling in a. Anyway. I wanted to talk about the X2S. Justin just bought this call, and in my opinion, it's like, I like my X1. This one has a few more features than the X1 does. It's cryptic camo, which is badass. But this one, if you're gonna spend the money, in my opinion, I mean, it's good. It's the same speaker, same Twitter as the X1. But the features on the remote are there's a lot more features you can use, and also on some of the calls, I don't know how to explain it, but the buttons have like a display that goes over them, like a little thin piece of plastic that goes over them, and the buttons set up underneath it, and like the old T1 calls, I think that was where the remote was a T1. But the buttons just, man, they weren't like, sometimes you'd hit mute and it didn't feel like it was hitting mute, so you'd push it harder, and the buttons just didn't function to me that great. They weren't sensitive. But this has these, get up closer, I can show you. This has these like rubber buttons that stick out. I mean, it's super easy. The menu is, I mean, everything about this remote is awesome. You even got some auxiliary buttons over here that you can do different things on, which we just got it. We don't really know. We just set our favorite calls on there and went with it. But
it's got Fox Fusion and all kinds of things on it that we're going to play with more and experiment. And Definitely that's a little bit more high tech with this call, but we're gonna definitely play with it a little bit more.
But yeah, the thing to me is the buttons. Like, I bought the X1. I didn't know that they had that remote, but I love the buttons on the X1 also, especially when you're using it at night. Once you get it down, there's no. I mean, you can feel them. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Like
they stick
muscle
out.
memory. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's in my opinion. If you got the money, buy this one. If you don't have the money, then buy whatever call you want. You can still kill them. I called them with a. I started out with a Ecotech or whatever it is that I bought off of Amazon for like $60, and it only had, I think, 10 calls on the remote. Couldn't program it, couldn't do nothing. I still killed coyotes. So it's just, these are a lot crisper. These coyotes are getting smarter. I think it does help when you have a better speaker, a better sound.
Sound quality.
Sound
and
quality.
More options to choose from. I mean, like.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you do the same. You know, you do the woodpecker and the rabbit distress, and you do all that, and it, you know, repetitious, and then you shoot a couple of coyotes out of that pack. Well, then they, to me, I think they take that sound as a danger, you know.
Right.
So to have more options is definitely better. What we found.
And I think you can put between your call and this one. I think you can put like up to 1,000 calls on it or something, like 100, 200 calls on it.
Oh yeah.
Like more than you'll need for sure.
And so this is what we've been finding, and I'm sure, you know, this is probably known, but we trialed and error. We figured this out on our own. Was so we've been really focusing on pausing in between calls. Like, our call sequence was, we started out with the interrogation. For whatever reason, if you do not have the interrogation call on your Fox Pro, you need to get it. Female interrogation.
From the month of February till now.
If you want to locate coyotes, or if you want to get it, so a lot of times this is what we'll do. We'll get in where we know we're close, and a lot of times if they're too far away, they'll still howl at us, even if it's 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll just get up and move to them. And in that interrogation howl, if they're around, if they're close, they're not going to say nothing. They're just going to come in like he did. We never heard him. Right. But here the other day, I mean, we were probably 600 yards from them where we thought they were, and they howled at us. We could have moved on them, but we ended up started raining real bad. But so we started out with the female interrogation. Let do its sequence, and once you start playing it, you'll realize where your stopping point is. You know, you don't want to just. We don't just continue going. When the call stops and then it starts back over to the same sound it did the first time, we mute it. And then I think you waited 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes on the first time.
2 minutes, and then after the 2 minutes, we do the female invitation, and this is kind of the thing we've been doing here lately. And then because it's March, and you know they're
breeding. Some of them,
yeah, they're breeding. So we did that, and then we waited another 2 or 3 minutes, and then he went to the male long howl. And waited 2 or 3 minutes, did the pup distress. And so this was a matter of probably 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, so 2, 4, 6, yeah, maybe like 6 to 8, 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. And then we did the pup distress for probably 2 or 3 minutes, right. And then we paused. We were sitting here in total silence, and he'd just come in. I mean, he had that call pegged, and he was coming to it. And he stopped out there for a second, but Justin did good. I feel like sometimes if you just, you know, you think, oh, well, they're going to stop and they're going to spook and run off, and you try to throw another call out there, sometimes it will cause them to spook, because then they can, you know, especially if you don't play with that volume. That's another thing.
Well, that's going back to that, the volume on that controller. So on yours controller, yeah, it's really easy to set that volume. Like on your 20 or your 30 on yours.
Only go to 20.
Okay, so like on your 20, it's like my 30 or something like that.
Right.
It's a very softer. This call is a very, I hate to say softer, but it's you got to go to like 37, almost 40 to get it to that louder locating kind of.
Yeah. I think the way they did this call was they set up the call volume a little bit more sensitive, so there's a bigger range of volume that you can use. Yeah. Mine only goes to 20, so like between probably 17 and 20, you know, it's not a huge difference. Where his, it's more of a gradual, broader range of sound that you can use, and that's the reason they have it to 40, I think. But yeah, we were sitting here in total silence for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and this male coyote, I mean, it's mature coyote. We're on public land. I mean, it don't get no better.
Right.
We still got 2 more packs that we actually located. We got up at 3 o'clock this morning and been riding around locating, and so I mean, if you do that, sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. I mean, it's hunting, but I can tell you right now, we could have walked 400 yards and been on these coyotes, but if we'd have done it, the wind would have been wrong, and we would have never called these coyotes in. We had to drive all the way around one of these roads and walk in probably a mile, close to it, to get to where they were, because we've been there. I know that the MFK guys talk about it. Everybody that I, kind of think is, got their shit together. They always talk about the wind, and it's a fact.
Crucial.
You might think, well maybe I'll get away with it. Maybe they'll come from this direction or that direction. Always try to go the wind, or don't even go, because it's just these coyotes are smart. This pack right here, probably 600 yards through the woods, right back that way, I shot 2 years ago. Whether it's the same pack, I don't know, but I believe that they're probably the same pack that's staying around.
I mean, it's too convenient when you call and locate, and then they come or they don't come, but you still have a drop pin, and then you come back, how many months later or weeks or later or whatever, and then they come back and make a circle, or they come back in the same location. Yeah,
so the last 2 years we've been riding around and locating, and I can almost we mark a yellow drop pin on our Onyx. And I can almost bet you we can go to every one of those yellow marks where we located coyotes 2 years ago, and when there'll be a coyote in the vicinity howl back at us. They have their little areas, and that's where they want to be. I'm sure you can go to, messing with them hard and heavy, or when they burn this, or people log and they'll push them out and make them change. But for the most part, we can go back to these yellow marks, and there'll be a coyote around that area.
Right.
And we've killed, within a mile radius, we've killed 5 coyotes out of this area. We shot a double. I shot that young one. I shot that big male, and then this one. So 5 coyotes within a mile of this area, and man, it's just a lot of trial and error. Like I said, I mean, we've located probably 6 packs in one night, and come out and hunted them the next day and not kill shit, because we didn't get the wind right, or we were too much on that call,
or we walked in too far, made too much noise because we're busting brush to get back here. We're not. It's not roads. Sometimes we find a road, or sometimes we find like a trail, but it's mainly busting through brush.
Well, I think so. I got a different opinion on that. I don't think the busting through brush spooks them. I think the wind spooks them. Because there's been times where we busted through brush, and there was time last year we sat down at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, and they howled back at us, and we moved on them, and we were stepping over clear cuts, out in the middle of clear cuts, falling down, breaking limbs, just making all kinds of racket. And I thought to myself, there's no way, like it's game over.
Right.
But
half-hearted sitting in the sit.
Yeah, exactly. Not even paying attention, and we end up killing coyotes because I believe it's the wind. I think for whatever reason they depend on their nose, especially if they're just kind of lounging around. Maybe not their eyesight as much, but if they smell something they know is danger, they're out of there. But I don't know. You could be right. I'm not trying to.
No, I ain't an expert either.
Yeah, we're not experts. We just try different shit and see what works, and
it's trial and error out here.
Yeah, but we're steadily killing them. I mean, I'm 100% confident from March till September. If I take the time scouting, I'm gonna kill. Right. I can kill. I would say probably 60% of the time we're gonna kill. So.
You gotta be confident in your call and know, and just basically boots on the ground is what they're both basically.
Yeah, exactly. And like we, this is our hobby, So I know guys that spend $100,000 on bass boats. That's their hobby, We spend a lot of money on coyote hunting because that's our thing. I mean, that's what we love. It never gets old. Right. It's just something we always.
Something about coyote sneaking into the set and never hearing him, but just seeing him coming through, and then you get excited like, hey, it's coyote. You try not to be loud, and you get all your hearts racing and everything else about it. It's nothing like it. I mean,
especially like night hunting's fun, but day hunting is just, there's nothing like it, because you're setting up in a thicket and you can't see them coming until they're 40, 50 yards on you, you know, and they just slip through the woods, man. They're like, I don't know. It's just, I love it. But anyway, my point was, you don't have to go out and spend $500-600 on a call.
Right. Because I mean, the Fox Pro Inferno we had before this call, we've killed at least many coyotes on that little cheap $200 call.
Yeah, I had a Wildfire 2.
Yeah, even
when I first met Justin, and I killed everything. I killed bobcats. I killed freaking, I don't know how, you know, several coyotes, several bobcats with it, and so you don't necessarily need something. I mean, all the electronic calls are pretty good nowadays.
Yeah. Do they give you an edge? Yes. Are they the only thing that keeps you killing coyotes? No. Right.
Yeah. The main thing is getting the wind right and spending time scouting.
Right.
You do those two things right there. I don't give a shit if you come out here with a mouth call. I mean, y'all see, everybody watches the MFK guys. I mean, they're calling them, and so it's the same kind of stuff we're hunting. It's all piney woods with freaking yopons and briars. I mean, it's. Right. You get on these creek bottoms, like I've said it a million times on all these videos. They always end up on these creek bottoms, and it's kind of their Achilles heel, because the creek bottoms are only places that we can hunt where we can see.
Right.
So it kind of works out to our advantage that they do hang out in these creek bottoms, you know.
Where they hunt or den or whatever else, but they stay in creek bottoms.
Stay, man. And I think that probably a lot of it is it's so thick around here, they can use this easily to
navigate,
to move around and to hunt and to slip out, and so. But I love it, man. This is I love the night hunting. It's got a place in my heart.
Right.
But there's nothing like this. Shooting them in the face at 40 yards is. There's just nothing like it. I mean, but
you want to pan around and let them look at everything?
Yeah. Oh. God dang. You want to hold that stinky bastard up?
Yeah.
I'll walk over there and kind of look at the thickets.
All right.
So I'm gonna let Justin pick that nasty bastard up, but so I know it's hard to tell on these GoPros, but this is the kind of stuff. I mean, it's just all in here. It's like this, except on these creek bottoms. I'm probably not getting a good perception of it, but so yeah. So I don't know if you can see, our backpacks and stuff are right there on that little tree right there. We had the call sitting right here, and so that's the stuff. The coyote came down this little draw right here, crossed over, and Justin shot him through the brush right there, about right where he's standing. So kind of give you an idea. He wasn't right on top of the call. Yeah, he wasn't right on top of the call, but I mean, it's one of them things too. It's like, you know, you get so amped up, and you get, if you hunt enough, you're gonna get busted, and you're gonna miss, and there's just shit's not gonna always come together. So when you have an opportunity in your mind, you feel like I got to get a bullet in him. You know, like you kind of rush everything. You don't take your time, but. You know, in the end, we did get one, and we did get it on video. Probably not the greatest video, but one of these days we'll get us a good camera. I told Justin I'm to the point now where I've spent so much damn money in the taxidermist that I'm to the point to just be cameraman to save me some money.
That tungsten likes to break.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's some bad stuff. You want to hold it up?
Unfortunately, yeah. He's heavy.
Yeah, he's a good coyote. Pick him up so higher. I mean, that's a pretty good sized coyote. But hell yeah, we're gonna get the hell out of here.